An onward moving an armor brigade. Today we're downloading a portion of a combat aviation brigade, and it will onward move to Germany and Eastern Europe, be scattered between Latvia and Romania, and with a big chunk of it stationed in Germany. Their mission is to train with our NATO allies, work on interoperability, strengthen our alliance together. As I said last month when we were standing here, the U.S. has been for 70 years one of the cornerstones of NATO, and there's no better way to train with our NATO partners than on the continent of Europe. United States is not a great training ground to train with NATO partners. Here, it's a rich environment for training and interoperability. The other thing I just tell you is the tanks and the armored vehicles here are coming out of Romania and Bulgaria, where they're Marine Corps tanks and Bradleys. They were on a 9-month rotation to do training down in the Black Sea area with our allies as well. So it's another indication of the U.S. commitment to Europe that's whole, free, and at peace, and another indication of the continued U.S. commitment to our NATO alliance. So thank you. So what we'll do next is we'll open it up for questions. Then we'll field the questions across the team here, and we'll stay here as long as you want to stay and ask questions and bear the cold. So questions, please.
It's George Marta from James Defense, working from Vienna in Austria. What is the size of this brigade? How many people, how many helicopters, how many maintainers?
Yeah, great questions. So no better person to answer that question than the Brigade Command Sergeant Major.
Yes, sir. We are arriving with over 80 helicopters, over 350 ground vehicles, and approximately 1,800 soldiers.
1,800.
Yes, sir.
And how long would it take for you to have the brigade in the places forward operating locations?
Sir, we'll probably be located in all our areas by the first week of March.
First week of March.
Yes, sir.
Which is Latvia, Romania, or?
We will be in Latvia, Romania, Poland, and multiple locations throughout Germany.
Any of the three types in any of these locations? Any of the three types you bring here?
Oh, yes. We will have mixed aircraft throughout the locations. Yes, sir.
Where are the Apaches?
Those will also be throughout all the places that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Latvia, Poland, Romania, and in Germany as well.
Well, I think so. The question was the Apaches aren't here yet,
Yes.
but in fact,
No.
the Apaches.
They were announced to be.
The Apaches will be following up on another ship within a week. Okay.
So interestingly, part of your question is we're bringing this brigade in across 4 NATO countries. We're bringing them into Belgium, Germany, Latvia, and Romania. And we're bringing them in by 3 seaports and 3 airports. So it's a combination of conveyances. Yesterday, there was a ship here downloading these aircraft. In Riga, Latvia, we'll actually fly in helicopters via airplanes and rebuild them in Latvia at the airport in Latvia. So one of the key training objectives here is to continue to refine our agility in the different methods that we deploy the aircraft. The other piece is on aircraft, unlike tanks and Bradleys and howitzers and ground combat equipment, is we don't use rail. So we're bringing them in over multiple airports and seaports, building the aircraft on the ground. We're putting them back together, and then they'll test fly them, and then they'll move them out, refuel them, and then they'll onward move actually under their own power. They'll actually fly to where they're headed. And so that's one of the reasons we've kind of spread the airports and seaports a lot around Europe.
And the test flights you do from here to where?
Yeah, let me let the Sergeant Major answer that.
Okay. Most of them, sir, won't need test flights the way they were configured on the boat. So we will be fueling them up here and then taking them from here. They'll fly through to Norholtz. And then they will fly on to their destinations from there, sir.
Next. More questions?
Yes. Can you just
Who are you with?
sorry?
Who are you with?
German television.
Thank you.
Can you just explain in a few words the purpose of this whole action?
Oh, the reason we're bringing the aviation brigade, yeah. So, last month we brought an armor brigade, we call it combined arms training, and so that's really the reason to bring forward the whole depth of training. In Europe, in the United States Army in Europe, we have two combat formations. We have an infantry brigade, it's airborne infantry. We also have a striker brigade that's wheeled combat vehicles. So in order to get the full breadth of training, both for the United States and our allies, we brought in an armored element, and now we're bringing the aircraft element. So this brigade has multiple missions. It does medevac. You can see over here the helicopters with the red cross on them. Anything from medevac to command and control airplanes to attack helicopters to heavy lift aircraft. So the reason is so that we can bring forward the full spectrum of combined arms training and train at that level. If we didn't bring them forward, then of course we'd be a little bit limited in our means to train. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think so.
Yep.
Any other questions?
So Sergeant Major may have something to add to that, but U.S. Army in Europe has 80 exercises planned this year in 2017. Last year was about the same. I'm sure next year, 2018, will be about the same. So the answer is yes. We already know what exercises the unit will participate in. Every year, one of the allies comes to us and says, kind of at the last minute and asks, can you participate in this? And Lieutenant General Hodges, the commanding general of U.S. Army in Europe, never says no. So it's 80 planned and maybe a couple more. They will be in Germany. A large portion of this brigade, the Aviation Brigade, will go to Katterbach in Illesheim, Germany. Of course, Hohenfels and Grafenwehr are two premier world-class training areas that our host nation Germany permits us to train in Hohenfels and Grafenwehr. The training in Hohenfels and Grafenwehr is always multinational training. It's where we work on interoperability, so a large portion of this force will train in Hohenfels, Grafenwehr, Illesheim, Katterbach area, as well as from the Baltic Sea all the way down to the Black Sea. The capstone exercise this year for the combined arms training that we talked about earlier is in July timeframe in Romania and Bulgaria. It's Sabre Guardian 17, but that's one of 80 planned exercises, and I guarantee you at the end of their 9-month rotation it'll be more than 80 that they will have participated in.
At this time, one thing we haven't talked about is how we got these birds off the boat and where they're at today. So Colonel Culligan, could you come forward and give us a little more information on that?
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Brad Culligan. I'm the battalion commander for the 838 Transportation Battalion. We operate very frequently here at the port of Bremerhaven, as you may know. Earlier this week, a couple days ago, we had a very large ship come in the pier behind us. We discharged all these helicopters. We discharged 49 helicopters today. We expect another 20 to come in next week. And then we discharged about another 60 to 70 pieces of additional support equipment. One thing that made this discharge really interesting compared to what we normally do up here is we used our port contractors, which are German citizens that work here at the port of Bremerhaven. We used U.S. Army active duty soldiers, U.S. Army Reserve soldiers, as well as U.S. Army civilians, all working together to make this operation work. So it's a combined effort to get everybody here, to get the helicopters off the ship as quickly as possible, reassembled in flight, and moved forward as quickly as possible. And this wouldn't be possible at all. It wouldn't be a success without the support of the local port here and the local port authority, and we really appreciate everything they do to help us be effective and be a working part of the NATO team. Any questions for me? All right, great.
We have to do this. How many workforce, how many heads?
How many people?
Yes, for all this.
So for this mission right here, there's approximately 150 personnel on the port.
Not the same when they did the tanks?
No,
No.
much more. Yeah, much more. Any other questions?
Tanks were about 200, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, not many more, but a little bit more.
And a little bit more with the tank movement last month. A lot more of the port workers, the dock workers, stevedores, and longshoremen were here. Yeah. So when we moved the helicopters off the ship, It's primarily the soldiers and the U.S. Army U.S. Army civilians moving the helicopters off the ship, and then the German port workers moved all the additional equipment, all the cranes and the other additional generators and stair sets were all moved off by the German national port workers. Yes, ma'am.
When do you think all of them will be gone? Tomorrow, 2 days, 3 days?
All the helicopters?
Yes.
Sorry, Major, do you want to answer that?
Sure. Sir, the build will continue into the beginning of next week, but you will see some of the helicopters leaving approximately early morning tomorrow, and then they'll continue on through the week.
For the week.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, did you have a question?
As Schwan, Northern Seal.
Yeah.
Jana, please can you tell me a little bit slower? It's very fast. When will arrive the next part of the next helicopters, the next tanks, or whatever comes to Bremerhaven?
Yes, sir.
From this base to go outside.
Yes, ma'am. So the Sergeant Major just explained that through the next week, the helicopters that are here right now will be leaving. And then we expect in about a week, in about 6 to 7 days, another ship to come in, which will bring approximately 20 more helicopters.
20 more helicopters
Yes, ma'am.
in 1 week.
Yes, ma'am.